Hey there everybody, Eric from Outer Limitless coming at you today with another video. Now in today's video I am on a family vacation. I packed up my car with all kinds of stuff, got it fully loaded, drove about 18 hours straight, and I'm here on a family vacation getting some good quality time with a number of my family members in some beautiful country. And at this point I am here to talk to you about one of the products that I brought to make my trip a little more managed and something that I think you may be very interested in. Now the product I'm going to talk to you about today is the Skycap 46 from Vanquest. Now you'll see I have it loaded up here with some of my outdoor gear. I'm about to go outside and do a field review on this bag. However, when I say field review, that's a little bit deceptive because this really is a multi-purpose bag. So like most things that Vanquest does, they have multi-purpose in mind. So the primary function for this bag is as a travel bag. The intention of the Skycap 46 is to be a good quality luggage option for somebody looking to maybe potentially carry their bag onto the plane, or even if they would like to check it in the underneath compartment. But with that said, I am intending on using this for multiple purposes. So you'll see in the footage here, first and foremost, I packed this bag up, got it loaded up with all of my items, had it fully prepared and ready to go, took it out to the car, loaded it in, and I've driven it all the way here to where now I am spending time with my family. But I do want to get a little bit of field use out in the wilderness with this bag, so we're going to head out in just a little bit. But I want to talk to you about some of the options in terms of it as an actual piece of luggage. Now before I get too far, I would like to say a great big thank you very much to the people at Vanquest who have provided this product for review. Oh, and before I get into the details, do me a favor, stay tuned! So as I packed up this bag, I knew I needed clothes for about a week. Now I do have the opportunity to do some laundry while we're here and to clean some things, but I figured it would be good to pack this out as much as possible to show you the overall capacity and capability of the bag. So in that regard, I packed up one pair of jeans, a lightweight North Face jacket, a lightweight outdoor research rain jacket, my bathing suit, 4 pairs of shorts, 7 polyester t-shirts, 3 polyester tank tops, 7 pairs of underwear, 9 pairs of socks, 1 belt, 1 pair of shoes, 2 pairs of sunglasses. I included my computer and charger and a power bank, my headphones and batteries and some of my camera accessories, my phone chargers. Oh, and one last thing, my field book. Now getting out to my vacation location was actually 2 different stops. So the first stop was between my house and a hotel that we usually go to hang out for a couple of days. Now the trip there was pretty wild. Again, it was 18 straight hours of driving. And as I got at it, it was pretty nice for the bulk of the trip, but the last third was absolutely wild. Just crazy driving, and I really needed to pay attention. And the fact of the matter is, after driving for practically a full day, I went from starting at pitch black to pretty much pitch black again, and by the time we made it to our hotel room, it was horrible conditions outside, completely rainy, and getting very dark. So at that point, I was finally able to get my hands on this bag again, take it out, bring it into the hotel room, and get myself established to enjoy my vacation. So after a real long day of driving, I've literally been driving for 18 hours straight. And I took the wheel the entire time, but I feel good. But it's kind of late, and we just checked into our hotel and trying to get settled down here. But a pretty wild drive. I mean, some of that footage you saw of us coming in, it got pretty nasty out there. But really, ultimately did very well. Kids behaved and actually had some cool little back and forths with the people at Vanquest. So as I'm coming out here on a family vacation, they're all heading out to Yellowstone. So a couple of road trips right here. And with that said, here I have my Skycap 46. So covered in a good amount of water here. It is absolutely pouring out there like crazy, and from running in here you'll see it is absolutely covered, but with the treated fabrics and overall ability for this to shed water, should be pretty good on the inside. And so you know, I carried this in on my shoulders, but I had a couple of questions that I wanted to look at real quick before I call it quits for the night and just kind of go meet up with my family. And that is the fact that these oversized handles should fit on the rolling luggage here. So, for example, if I didn't want to carry the bag on my shoulders, I could have easily taken it and placed it on this and towed it behind me. So I'm going to try that real quick to see if the handle will fit over the handle of the rolling suitcase. And here you will see that it does fit quite well. So theoretically, if I wanted to, I really could have just towed this in. I mean, it's a little bit heavy and a little bit top heavy, but it certainly would have worked. So if, for example, I didn't want to have that on my back and I just wanted to kind of tow it with me, it actually works pretty well. Is reasonably balanced, doesn't really knock over the suitcase. Looks a little bit funny, but I mean, it does serve its purpose. So I know that was one of the design features that Vanquest was going for, and just right there, it certainly works. And just really quick before I go down to see my family, where it was really raining substantially and I had a pretty good walk in the parking lot. I had to park very far away because it's late at night, almost 10 o'clock at night, and the entire parking lot is completely parked up. So I had to walk a pretty decent distance with this bag before I made it out of the heavy pouring rain. So this zipper here, you'll see, has a heavy duty flap over it. I'm not going to have any problem with water, but you'll see that these zipper tracks were oriented up. So it's not like I even had the zippers off to the side. They are completely exposed. So if I was going to have problems with water, you know, I had probably, I don't know, call it 2 solid minutes of downpour on me making it into this place, my problems would appear here. So opening up this, I don't see any issues. Nice and dry, so no problem in my accessory compartment. And then the main compartment with my clothing, opening it up, again, no issues there. So these zippers, for the amount that I was exposed to the rain, certainly worked. It would take a little more testing for me to really get into full depth detail whether or not these are able to sustain a longer period or heavier sort of duration. But at the same time, you know, in the amount of rain that this did see, reasonably heavy, a couple of minutes, did its job to keep my contents dry. Just a quick observation, and this is kind of true for a lot of Vanquest products. They use really nice heavy-duty zippers, and when you first go to use them, they're a little bit stiff, and they're just kind of difficult to get to move, and it makes the bag feel awkward. Now, don't let that discourage you. These zippers are amazing. They actually kind of break in. You can hear it. They actually break in over time and with use and get to be very smooth and easy acting. And then even the Cordura kind of, I mean, I'm not going to say really breaks in, but you just sort of get used to the way it works and moves and stuff like that. So, you know, for me, I mean, right now, I'm struggling with the zippers just a little bit, but I know the more I use this bag and as it kind of breaks in with the zippers, they will become very smooth and fluid. And the good thing is you have nice high quality zippers, so they will certainly last. Now, as you look at how I've organized this, and keeping in mind basically I have sort of shifted some things around from the way I originally packed it, but I have the bulk of my clothes in this main section, you know, my shorts, shirts, things like that. I have my socks in the side pouch on one side, and then underwear in the side pouch on the other, and it has fit quite well. Just a touch overstuffed, but that's basically due to the fact that I wanted to load this out completely. I am doing laundry at some point on this trip, so I didn't necessarily need to bring everything that I did, but for this test and for the purpose, I brought all the items that I did just to kind of show how much you really can fit. You know, I kind of wanted to overload this by a bit and absolutely build it out to the max for this purpose so you can see how much stuff you can fit. Like I said, I didn't necessarily need to bring all of this where I do have the opportunity to clean my laundry on this trip, but in the, you know, sort of call it sport of testing this, I really did want to load it and pack it out as much as possible. Now, another little early on observation is the fact that as you're using this and kind of, you know, carrying it around and sort of packing it into the car where I had it and stuff, what I did find is that the straps have a tendency to be kind of flapping around and getting in the way a little bit. So one of the things that I did to kind of ease up on me was I took at least the waist strap and I packed it away. So I have a little less material sort of floating around on me. And then the last thing I have here is just simply the shoulder straps. Now with the shoulder straps exposed, I can certainly carry this as a backpack, but if it got to the point where I found these were even getting in the way, I could tuck them in here and get them completely out of the way altogether. But so far, this has been quite nice. Now the second leg of my trip has been a little bit more enjoyable. Much better weather, beautiful scenery, excellent temperatures, a little bit on the warm side. But here I am now getting ready to go out into the field and really use this bag in a, I'd say, outdoor field application. Now again, like I said, when I say out in the field, it is kind of dual purpose. The first application being as a travel bag, as a suitcase, as luggage, the ability for me to pack up my stuff and get it to my destination. But now I'm here and I want to transform this bag from luggage to a good quality outdoor use bag. And not to say that this is a bushcraft bag or anything like that, but I am loading this up with my outdoor gear. So I have a number of items in here that I'm going to bring out into the field, enjoy myself a good afternoon hanging out and completing this review. But in doing so, I wanted to pack up some of the items that I thought I might use and that might be useful for me while I'm out there. So with that said, let's get outside and see this in use as an outdoor bag. Now the first thing to keep in mind is that the back panel on this backpack is very flat. I mean, this is really, in essence, a duffel bag and meant for travel. So you don't get all that ventilation like you do in some of the other, you know, tactical style or even backpacking backpacks. So you're not getting really too much in the way of airflow. So on a day like today, where it is quite humid and quite warm, it doesn't do too much in the way of giving you airflow or breathability. So, you know, I am finding that this bag is just a little bit warm on the back, but it's to be expected. You can't get it all. So where this is a versatile bag and really kind of giving you multiple options and multiple uses, it's not something that I'm really going to hold too much against it, but just something worth noting and kind of an observation. Now I found myself a nice, comfortable, and quiet place to film. There is some nice scenery to the side of us, but it's brightly lit. So I'm kind of shooting this way so you can see things a little bit better, but I'll show you some of that scenery in just a few minutes. But we're really here to talk about this bag. And the first thing for me is, you know, as I'm carrying it out here, keeping in mind that, yes, this is really intended to be, in some ways, luggage. I like the idea that this is a multi-purpose bag. I think that's the direction that Vanquest seems to be going in, and I greatly like it. They have the Marcor 45, which is also a multi-purpose bag. It's really trying to attend to multiple genres of people and have many different uses, and I like that philosophy. And they're carrying that forward here with the Skycap 46. So that's the first thing, is I like the idea that I can bring a bag with me. It's basically luggage, protects my stuff while it's in travel, on a plane, and in my case, in the car. It's durable enough to get beat up a little bit, but then you can load it up with, you know, your other gear or have other intended purposes for it. Now, I do think this is going to be a little bit big for people to be carrying around like a typical day bag. So this is not going to be good for you to bring it to Disney World and load up all your stuff and get to Disney World and, you know, put all your kids' stuff. This is not a glorified tactical diaper bag, so don't get that impression. But this is a good quality piece of multi-purpose gear, and for me today, where I have it loaded up with some of my outdoor gear, it's going to work for me pretty nice. So at this point, I'll go through some of the basic features of the bag so you can see it in detail. As I mentioned on the way in, there is a back panel that does not have much in either the way of padding or ventilation. It's a flat back, and that's okay. As I mentioned, this is really intended to be luggage, so you can't have it all, and that's just I'd say an observation. You know, you are going to have this directly against your back, and there's not a lot in the way of breathability. So if it's a warm day like today, it's going to promote a little bit of sweat, but at the same time, it's something that I come to understand, so I'm okay with it. Now, part of the purpose of this bag is to allow the straps to pack away. So in essence, if you wanted to, you could tuck these straps into this back panel and get them completely stowed away. And that is also the case with the waist belt, where it has some pouches and you can slide this waist belt nicely inside and tuck it away and get it out of the way. You heard me mention that I found as though these do tend to get a little bit in the way if you're packing it in the car, and if you don't need the waist belt, I do suggest tucking it out of the way up front just to kind of give yourself a little less material and things to get snagged on. But like all Vanquest products, these do use very nice buckles and straps. The hardware on Vanquest products is excellent, typically Duraflex, and in this case you do have these Duraflex buckles. So one of the things that you can do where you have this buckle style connection for your shoulder straps, you can get one of the straps completely out of the way, tuck it in, and if you wanted to, you could actually convert this essentially into a sling bag. Now, that might not be the most comfortable if you're using this with a heavy load. So when I finished packing my bag, I weighed it up real quick, and I have about 28 pounds worth of luggage with me. So in essence, it would not be the most comfortable to use this as a sling bag, but in this case where I have some of my outdoor gear, it would be perfectly fine. Vanquest always does a very nice job with their straps. These are padded and a little bit vented. They are certainly contoured. You end up with your sternum strap and all the things that you've come to know from Vanquest. So all your little connection points and the ability to actually route hydration bladders through here. One thing worth noting is that in this back panel, you do have the ability, if you would like to, on this tab to hang a hydration bladder. So this bag, as crazy as it sounds being luggage, is actually hydration compatible. Now, one of the things that I found is a little bit of a downfall is that the waist strap, it is plenty ample, but it does not have any attachment points. I would love a little bit of Molly on here. I have a beautiful bottle corset that I got from Vanquest, and if you noticed as I was hiking in, I was carrying my water bottle, and I did not have a good place to put it, and I would love to be able to attach the water bottle corset right to this. Now, that's the thing about Vanquest and their products and the direction they're going, creating multi-purpose bags where this is intended on being luggage, but also has the possibility to be carried out into the field. I would love to have some additional connection points on here, and I feel like that waist belt is certainly an opportunity for that. So as we continue to go through the exterior features of this bag, you'll see that this has these large wings that are pretty much padding on the outside of the bag. Now, I can tell you that this is quite thick, extremely durable, so it gives a good quality overall protection to the contents of your bag. I think my initial impression is that it's just a touch overkill. Now, I like the idea, I like it in concept, I think it does an excellent job. I just think it's a little bit overdone. It's kind of stiff and maybe a little bit thicker than it needs to be. Now, that's not necessarily a bad thing, and if you look at the actual mantra of Vanquest, it is tough built gear, so you're absolutely getting that. I just think it's just a little bit overdone, but it certainly is good to protect your stuff that's inside the bag. You'll see a nice big Velcro field. This would give you the ability to put either Morale patches, or Vanquest does offer Velcro adapters that have, say, MOLLE compatibility and things like that. So if you wanted to add a pouch, you certainly could. My personal preference would be is if this was laser cut. I would love to see the multi-purpose capability of having some MOLLE really cut in here so that you have the ability to attach additional pouches. One of the things that I find is a struggle with this bag is lashing points. There are some on here, and you do have the ability to use these wings to really hold some gear in here. But another thing that I would like to see is the ability to build this out a little more for that outdoor application. So for example, if on the outside of the bag you had a couple of lashing points or the ability to add some MOLLE pouches, say for example a dump pouch on the side here would work great, because then I'd have a place to put my water bottle. The other thing you'll see is that my stool here, which I'm intending on sitting on, is kind of falling out a little bit. Now it's not entirely Vanquest's fault. However, if there was the ability to add a pouch to the outside, I could have simply put this in here, and then if there were a couple of loops or the ability for me to add straps on here, it would significantly improve in the modularity and my ability to use this as an outdoor bag. But here you'll see as I remove these wings, expanding the bag here, this also has a beautiful Velcro field. In a similar fashion, I would love to see either one of the kind of those MOLLE Air, I forget what they call it, I want to say it's Hypalon, so like a Hypalon panel here, or some MOLLE, a couple little spots where you could add some additional straps if you wanted to. I think that would help. The other thing is there is a lot of stuff going on here where this is so thick, but there's nothing else you can add to it. You do have the ability to tuck these straps away, but I'd like to see maybe a couple of lashing points stitched in here so you could add additional straps. It would just help with the general overall modularity and ability for this bag to be multi-purpose. Or even laser cutting this particular Velcro field would certainly help. Now, none of this is make or break. I have to say, I am extremely happy with this bag. It's been excellent as a travel bag, and for me to use it for these intended purposes. That's not exactly what I'm saying. I can't really critique it too hard. My main, I'd say, reason for saying this stuff, like this is Vanquest. Vanquest always sets the bar extremely high, and they already have. However, with that said, that makes me extremely hypercritical. I am going to critique this as hard and as deep as I can, and those comments just adding a little bit of extra bells and whistles to improve the modularity. Now, there are a few loops down here. I'm not sure what the overall intended purpose is. They certainly could be used to your advantage, and maybe I could use this to help me with some of those sort of lashing points that I'm talking about, but I would also like to see maybe a couple of them stitched in a little higher. Now, the construction is such that it would be a little more difficult, but I think with some creativity it would work. Getting into the pouches here, you'll see in typical Vanquest fashion, the nice bright high-vis interior. So this is just one large pocket. Now this does not have the ability for you to lock it. So as a travel option and loading this on a plane, if you did have security in mind, this would not necessarily be the best option. However, with these zipper pulls, you do have the ability to essentially place this on here, clip it in place, and if you really wanted to, you could probably get creative and fashion some sort of a lock on there, but it is not the best and certainly not the most secure pocket on here. But with that said, the next pouch does have the ability to put a lock. So this is your main admin style pouch. As you open it up, going across the top, you'll see, again, nice high-vis interior. Now, I've loaded this up with just some things that I thought I might want with me, and it gives you a little example of what types of things might be able to fit in here. So in that regard, I do have my field book, which goes deep inside this pouch. This pouch goes all the way down inside, and this is a zippered pouch, which is quite nice. So you do have the ability to zip this up. And for the example, this is a full-size sharpener, so a ceramic rod, which if I place it inside goes all the way down to the bottom, and the top just sticks out. So that gives you an example of the depth of that pouch. Now just beyond that, this pouch here is pretty much a laptop sleeve, which I have used. I fit a nice size laptop in here. Actually, it's a Microsoft Surface tablet, which fits in there quite well. This is well padded and reasonably protects it. I would not suggest traveling with the laptop in here if you were going to check your bag, but if it's a carry-on option, that would definitely work well for you. Two back-to-back Velcro pouches of approximately the same size. Here you'll see I just have my power bank. I put it in there for the example. I have a little keeper with my Olight flashlight. This pouch here is quite interesting. I like the size of this pouch a lot. Slim yet wide enough to accommodate a tactical flashlight, so that is pretty cool. Another similarly sized Velcro pouch is the ones on this side, but on this side a couple of shock cords to help keep things in place. So in that regard, I just have my Work Sharp field sharpener in there for the example of something that could fit in that slot. Now on the exterior flap, you do have this pouch on the top, which is RFID blocking. So if you had anything sensitive or you wanted to carry your wallet in there, certainly a good option. But for me right now, I just have some of my camera accessories and spare batteries. So just things in there, kind of keeping me a little bit organized. Now as I zip this back into place, the main pouch here is one big horseshoe zipper. Opening it up, it is pretty much a full clamshell design and opens up completely to display the contents inside your bag. So similarly to the admin pouch, in this particular pouch you'll see it does also have a pocket with a zipper on the flap, so that works out quite well. At this point I just do not have anything in here. You'll see I have a full-size tarp, so this is a nice large-size tarp. Fits in here quite well and in width, so that worked out pretty well for me. A couple of other accessories that go with my tarp, just my knife and axe, and this is the water bottle corset I was talking about. So this Vanquest product works quite well for a water bottle, and where you'll see here my Vanquest 32-ounce insulated bottle would fit in here perfectly, and it's something that I would love to ride right on my hip on that waist belt, but unfortunately I just do not have that option. But getting to the inside here, you'll see that there is this interior pocket. Now there is a sleeve as well, but as you open it up, it's pretty much just the padding that is inside. So you'll see, even though there is a Velcro pocket, I think the actual intention is simply to get the padding in after manufacturing. And in similar fashion, on the other side, you have the identical same pouch. Now getting back to the exterior of the bag, there are two pouches on the outside of the bag. You'll see here, there's one on this side and then also one on the top. Now I just have a sunglass case in here. The top one does have a keeper. Something I would like to point out is if you're not careful, this pouch here does somewhat compete for space, and same with this one on the inside of the bag. Now I would say really the one on the bottom competes for space just a little bit more than the one on the top, so you need to really think about how you want to pack that. And of course this is on the bottom of the bag, so you really need to be careful not to put something in here you're worried about damaging. Now as I get my contents back into this bag, what I would like to say is I believe that Vanquest does a beautiful job with all of their products, and I very much enjoy the high-vis. That is really something that's become sort of a staple of many of their products, but it does tend to work very well in terms of your ability to easily see the contents and the things that are inside the bag. So in that regard, I do very much like that high-vis contrast in the material choices that they've been using on their most recent products. I feel as though it's been a little bit of a tweak. So some of these things are becoming sort of a staple and have been for a while. Some of these other materials are becoming more and more commonplace with the Vanquest products, and I do very much like it. And with that said, one thing about this Skycap 46, it is a combination of both 1000D and 500D Cordura nylon, which is again something they've been doing more recently. So putting the 1000D in all those spots where you really need it, and then the 500D on the rest to leave it a little more pliable, a little more manageable, and cut down on a little bit of weight. Now this bag also does have a couple of nice grab handles. So here you'll see grab handle on the top. It does have a neoprene wrap on it, which makes it feel nice and soft. And then also on the side, there are no real handles on the top here. However, if these straps were connected, you could certainly, if you wanted to, grab this by these and you have no problem, but this is not really a good effective means to carry it. You're pretty much carrying this as a duffel style from the side. Now, one of the things I want to point out is that if you are concerned with general security and want to lock your bag, it appears to me as though you would have the opportunity to lock both your admin pocket and your main pouch together with one lock if you're careful and pay attention to the lock design. If you line up the sort of tabs here and the locking holes on these zippers, you can pretty much align them to get a single lock through both sections all at once. Now, there are some other products out there that are somewhat similar to this. Most notable, in my opinion, is the Osprey Porter 46, but in that regard, I do not feel as though that bag would be as rugged as the Vanquest product. It is very similar in concept, very similar in overall features, but in my opinion, what would make it different is the choice of materials and hardware. You get a lot more durability out of the Vanquest products with the heavy-duty Cordura and the heavy-duty Duraflex buckles. So alright guys, there you have it. A real quick look at the Vanquest Skycap 46. So again, I'd like to say thank you very much to the people at Vanquest for providing this product for a review. I very much like it. It has been excellent living out of this for the past week. I very much like this bag. It has great thought, overall organization. It's something that I have enjoyed just using it. It actually is better than most of the other luggage that I have in terms of the overall comfort carrying it, the portability, the packability. I fit a ton of stuff in here, and overall I love the Vanquest products and the durability and quality that you get with the Vanquest name. So alright guys, thanks for stopping by. I hope you like what you saw. I hope you found it a little bit informative. If you like what you saw, please like, share, and subscribe. And as always, thanks for stopping by. Take care now. I'll see you soon.